Welcome back to Real versus Real. Today, we're exploring the final days of Russia's last royal dynasty, the Romanovs, and comparing their real story with two popular retellings: Netflix's The Last Czars and the animated film Anastasia. These portrayals bring us close to the mystery, heartbreak, and drama surrounding the Romanovs' fall. But just how close do they come to the truth? Let's dive in. The Romanov dynasty, power and mystique. The Romanovs ruled Russia for over 3 centuries, but by the early 20th century, their dynasty was on shaky ground. Nicholas I, Russia's last Tsar, was seen by many as an ineffective ruler. He was deeply devoted to his family but disconnected from his people's struggles, and his reign was marred by political missteps, especially his decision to lead Russia into World War I. The Last Czars does a good job of capturing the contrasting worlds of imperial luxury and the hardship faced by ordinary Russians. It shows Nicholas as a family man, which aligns with historical accounts of his devotion to his wife, Alexandra, and their 5 children. However, the show also dramatizes some family interactions for effect, exaggerating moments of tension to highlight the dynasty's instability. Rasputin, the Mad Monk, and the Romanovs. Enter Rasputin, the so-called Mad Monk, whose influence over the Romanovs is one of the most sensational aspects of their story. Rasputin was a mystic healer who gained Alexandra's trust, particularly due to his apparent ability to ease the suffering of her hemophiliac son, Alexei. The Last Czars depicts Rasputin as a controversial figure, a healer with questionable intentions. In contrast, Anastasia turns him into a villainous sorcerer whose dark magic brings about the fall of the Romanovs. While Rasputin did have influence, his role wasn't supernatural, nor did he directly cause the revolution. His power came more from the distrust he inspired among the Russian aristocracy, who saw him as a corrupting influence on the royal family. In reality, Rasputin was assassinated by nobles desperate to end his control over the family. The Last Czars portrays his murder with historical accuracy. A group of nobles poisoned, shot, and ultimately drowned him. However, Anastasia paints him as a revenge-driven ghost, which, while captivating, is far from historical truth. Revolution and the fall of the Romanovs. By 1917, public discontent had reached its peak. The Russian Revolution forced Nicholas to abdicate, and the Romanov family was placed under house arrest. The Last Czars captures this period of confinement, portraying the isolation and uncertainty that Nicholas, Alexandra, and their children endured. This portrayal is quite accurate. The Romanovs lived under strict watch, unable to leave their residence, and subjected to harsh treatment by their guards. In contrast, Anastasia skips over much of the revolution's grim reality, focusing instead on the idea that young Anastasia survived and escaped. This was a widely believed myth after the family's execution, fueled by rumors and imposters who claimed to be the missing Grand Duchess. The execution of the Romanovs. One of the darkest moments in Russian history was the Romanov family's execution. In July 1918, the family was led into a basement under the guise of protection and tragically executed by a Bolshevik firing squad. The Last Czars doesn't shy away from this brutal event, showing the Romanovs' confusion and horror as they faced their tragic fate. While this scene is difficult to watch, it is historically accurate, based on first-hand accounts from soldiers who participated in or witnessed the execution. Anastasia, however, presents an entirely different ending. In the animated film, young Anastasia miraculously escapes the assassination and loses her memory. This storyline captivated audiences and kept the myth of Anastasia's survival alive. Even though DNA testing in the 1990s confirmed that all family members perished together. The myth of Anastasia. The myth of Anastasia's survival didn't begin with Hollywood. After the execution, rumors spread that one of the Romanov children had survived. A woman named Anna Anderson famously claimed to be Anastasia, capturing the public's fascination. For decades, people debated her identity, with some even swearing she was the lost Grand Duchess. In Anastasia, the princess searches for her identity, meeting a charming con man who helps her reunite with her grandmother. While it makes for a great story, there's no historical evidence supporting this narrative. In fact, DNA testing ultimately disproved Anderson's claim, revealing she was not related to the Romanovs. By the 1990s, archaeologists located and identified the remains of all Romanov family members, effectively putting to rest the myth of Anastasia's survival. The last Czars acknowledges this, staying closer to the historical record, while Anastasia perpetuates the legend for dramatic effect. The legacy of the Romanovs. Despite their tragic end, the Romanovs left an enduring legacy. Today, they are seen as martyrs by the Russian Orthodox Church, canonized in 2000. The memory of their suffering during the revolution has transformed them into symbolic figures of lost royalty and devotion. The Last Czars portrays the family's faith and closeness during their final days, emphasizing their bond as they faced their tragic fate together. This depiction aligns with historical accounts describing their shared strength and loyalty to one another. Meanwhile, Anastasia has given the Romanov name new life in popular culture, though in a fantastical and romanticized form. The film may stray far from the truth, but it captures the intrigue surrounding this royal family and reminds us of the enduring power of legends. Conclusion: real versus real. The Romanovs in history and Hollywood. So, how accurate are these portrayals of the Romanovs? The Last Czars gives us a historically grounded, if dramatized, depiction of the family's final years, staying mostly true to real events. Anastasia, on the other hand, transforms history into fantasy, embracing the myth of a lost princess to create a magical escape story. In the end, both versions serve a purpose. The Last Czars offers a closer look at the Romanovs' actual struggles and the tragedy of their fate, while Anastasia keeps the legend alive, enchanting audiences with a story of survival and hope, even if it's pure fiction. Thanks for joining us for Real versus Real. If you enjoyed learning about the Romanovs, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments which royal story you'd like us to explore next. See you next time.